So this is the door we're going to be taking out to the range to range test. This is off a 2017 Interceptor, formerly off a state trooper car, and we're going to test this against a 12 gauge shotgun. We're going to put it up against a slug off of a 2 3/4 inch round, about a 1 ounce slug at 1410 feet per second, which is a little bit high velocity for a shotgun slug. Normally they're around 1200 to 1300 feet per second. We're going to step it up a little bit. We're going to hit it at point blank range with multiple hits, also with buckshot, and then we're going to hit it with multiple rounds from handguns, starting with the 9mm and working our way up. The idea is to see how much punishment this can take and what rounds it will stop. Now, if you look at the bottom of the door, you're going to see some paneling way down there at the bottom. That was our prototype panel that we tested against a 12 gauge shotgun slug at 6 inches. It's a 1 foot by 1 foot paneling. It's to simulate the door. The first paneling on this side is a 20 gauge sheet metal, followed by 4 layers of the Ballistic Shield material that we have inside this particular door. And we're doing it in layers, 4 layers, because layers are easier to put inside the door, and we kind of jigsaw puzzle them into place. They're easy to drop in, easy to slide in place, quick assembly, quick installation. That reduces your cost. Got 4 layers on the bottom, and then the last layer would be a sheet metal, again 20 gauge sheet metal, that would simulate the back side of the door sheet metal. And as you can see, and I'll throw up some stills with a closer look, the 12 gauge shotgun slug penetrated the sheet metal and then went through the first paneling. Round black dot you see there is the plastic wadding for the shotgun shell, and around that you'll see a white, kind of a white film. That's actually the material starting to stretch and dissipate the energy from the munition going through. And you'll see on the second paneling, you'll see that white spot actually radiate out. That is showing us how the energy is being mitigated. It's actually going out, radiating out, as opposed to all of it going straight through the material. That's what we're looking for. That's what we found with the material that we're using. Now, on the other stuff that's out on the market, they use a different resin that's harder, and it dissipates the energy much less, causing the fibers that this resin is impregnated into, causing these fibers to shatter and to break apart. The design we have, the material we have, does something totally different. It actually makes it more spongy, and it absorbs the energy, and it maintains a lot of the fiber integrity. That way the energy is dissipated and radiated out. There's less energy pushing that projectile straight ahead, and it preserves the material, so when the next round comes, there's something there to catch that round as well. So you'll see that white spot getting bigger and bigger with each progressive layer. The second layer, it's a little bit farther out. You'll see that little shiny thing in the middle. That's the shotgun slug. And I'll flip that over for you in the still, and you can see how that energy is being radiated perpendicular to the flight vector of that projectile. Then if you look at the third layer, you can see that there is no penetration, but yet you'll see that energy again radiating out even farther. Again, that's showing you how that energy is being mitigated, how it's being deflected. It's not going straight ahead. A lot of it's being radiated out, and that's, like I said, that's what we're looking for. On the fourth layer, you see even a bigger pattern of how that energy is being dissipated. The wonderful thing about this is we caught that 12 gauge shotgun slug on the second paneling. Earlier research and development test came away with the same results, but we also hit the material with a 44 Magnum and had about the same penetration as that 12 gauge slug. So this is a very successful ballistic platform. It's better than the stuff that's currently out on the market. It's cheaper than the stuff that's currently out on the market. And with this design kit, it installs faster, therefore it's less expensive to install. So not only do you have a better product, but that product costs less, and installation costs less, and maintenance costs less. It's a better product all the way around. So before we take this out to the range, there are two things that I have to tattoo into your mindset about car doors, police cars, ballistics, and how these things all work together. You would do yourself a great favor if you took the time and researched two topics on the internet. The first one is go on the internet, go to Google, type in police car chase shooting, YouTube. Put that in that little box there, hit return. It's going to bring you up a number of YouTube videos of police car chases where they end up in a shooting, or they just end up finally corralling the car they've been chasing. And what I need you to understand and see and really grasp is almost in every one of those videos, the police will pull up and they'll open their doors and they'll stand behind their doors with their guns drawn, usually about like this. I don't know why, because you got glass here. If that person's shooting back at you, that glass isn't going to do anything other than give you a false sense of safety. So you'll continue to stand there thinking that you're protected because you're behind something that feels like steel and glass and something solid. But if any projectile's coming your way, it's going to go right through that glass and hit any exposed area that's not covered up by, let's say, your vest. Well, my face isn't, my neck isn't. If I'm doing this, my armpit isn't. We've had examples of people on SWAT teams, of officers on SWAT teams, where they got shot, they got full gear on, but they got their armpit exposed. And that bullet went right through their armpit, right through their heart, and they're dead before they hit the ground. The problem with law enforcement and officers is they don't realize that this stuff makes very poor ballistic barriers. So what I want you to take away from these videos of car chases or police cars coming up on a scene, let's say a domestic violence scene or a riot in the street or something like that, I want you to see the mindset of the officers. The thing they always do, almost always, is they stand behind their car door. They're doing that because they think this is going to give them protection. It does not. And that leads me to the second area that you need to research and YouTube. So go into your Google again and go in car door shooting YouTube, or car door 9mm YouTube. Hit return. It'll bring up one or two YouTubes, and then you can follow the links, the extra links that are on the side. Go through each and every one of these. What those YouTubes are going to bring up are people taking doors like this, just the doors right off the car. They'll take them out to the range and they'll start shooting at them with all kinds of weapons. And they'll start with a 22 or 22 long rifle, then they'll go to the 9mm, 45 caliber, and I don't know why they go after that, because there is no door out there that's going to stop even a 9mm. It'll go right through it. But many of these YouTubes, many of them that are put on by former special operation type military people like Navy SEALs or Green Berets or whatever, or Marines of some level, they're out there, they're range masters, that's what they do for a living now, and they'll take these doors out there and they'll hit them with every type of gun they can find. And without exception, these doors start to fail at a 22 long rifle bullet, okay? None of them will stop a 9mm unless that 9mm maybe hits the electric motor assembly in there, hits the motor itself, but the skin, the paneling, everything doesn't stop anything. And then you'll actually find some of the redneck buddies that go out into the mountains and they'll take their entire car out there and they'll shoot the entire car up with the same munitions. And you'll find out that 9mm will not only go through the driver door, it'll continue on and go out through the passenger door and it'll lodge itself in the dirt behind the car. That's a 9mm. It'll go right through the entire car, a 9mm. So, 2 rules of thumb. You've got to come away with 2 rules of thumb in your mindset. Number 1, there is such a distraction and a temptation to stand behind a car door thinking that that's going to provide protection. That's the first thing you need to realize and remember. That's what most people are going to do. Don't do that unless you have inside this door some type of ballistic paneling, okay? That's number one. Number two rule of thumb. A car door has as much stopping power as a cardboard box. So if somebody's shooting at me, I'll show you exactly what that bullet sees when I'm behind this door that has not been equipped with ballistic barrier. If I'm doing this, this is what the bullet sees. I'm totally exposed. But I'm standing there because I think that's going to stop the bullet. It's not. You have to have some type of ballistic shielding inside this door. And we put 4 layers in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, we've tested these layers against a 12-gauge shotgun at 6 inches. It stopped it on the second paneling. We got 4 panelings, 4 layers of paneling. We only need 2. We put 4 in. It stopped the 44 Magnum at this with the same material, the same amount of ballistic paneling in there. Stopped the 44 Magnum, and now we're going to take it out to the range. We're going to hit it with the same type of munitions, but a heck of a lot more. I'm hoping to put dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of rounds into this door so you can be confident that this product will withstand a sustained firefight event. Now you'll notice on this door I have it taped off with red tape. That is the area that we have fortified on the inside of this door with the Ballistic Shield material. That is the coverage. And if you ever open one of these doors, the door will open up and the front of the door will actually come into the door behind the fender up against the door jamb, the chassis, everything. So about this much will flex in and you'll have this much exposed and then the fender. And this will be juting out at about a 35 to 45 degree angle. When this door is open, you got full coverage if you're standing right up into that little crevice that comes right into where the door meets the car. You can't get any farther in there or you'll be inside the car. But now you got this coverage and you'll be totally covered. And the neat thing about this ballistic kit is it gives you that much coverage. The other stuff that's out on the market gives you about 1/3 less. It'll come up to about here, start down there. This is maximum coverage. The reason we can't get this is because you got the door mechanism behind the door handle. You can't put any material in there. Even still, you're going to be right here. So when you come upon a scene, say 3 o'clock in the morning, dispatch puts you up to a house where there was a call for domestic violence. You come up, you step out of your car, a guy comes out running out of his house. He's all amped up on meth and crack and everything else and been drinking all day. Took a couple shots at his wife. She called it in. You show up. He comes out with a shotgun. He hates cops. Like I said, he's all amped up. He's going to lift that rifle barrel at you and he's going to start popping off rounds. You have 1 second, maybe 2 would respond. This is what you do. You go straight down and duck and cover. How much of me can you see? Very little. And when you do come up, you got protection. You got a duck and cover that you can return fire from if need be. That's the whole science and design behind this platform, is to give you protection. You got a second to respond, and that's drop behind the duck and cover that will protect you. It's not just a car door that can't stop even a 9mm. It's a car door filled with the Ballistic Shield material that'll stop a 44 Magnum, a 12-gauge shotgun slug at 6 inches. It's going to stop those. It's going to stop any handgun. This material will not stop anything out of a long rifle, say an AR-15 or a 30-06, because those munitions are piercing bullets. They pierce. It's like a dart. The only way you can fortify that door, or this door, to that level is you now have to introduce ceramics or plate steel along with this material, which will double or triple the weight of the door and double and triple the cost of the kit. Those kits that SWAT uses, they start about $3,500. But the level 3A, 3A plus that some police departments are going to provide protection against handguns and shotguns, They start about $1,600. That does not include installation. The installation of this kit that I've designed is much faster. That reduces your cost as well. We're thinking that the price range will probably start under $1,000 for the kit. But even with that kit, you get 30%, 40% more coverage. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for something with maximum coverage to maximize the survivability for your police officer if they ever find themselves in an active shooting event or any type of shooting event that they roll up on. So let me wrap up this introduction by maybe doing a little role play here so you can see the importance and the reality of this system. You're the assistant deputy for New Hope County. Here's your badge. And you pull over a car at 3 o'clock in the morning that's been swerving all over the road, and you got your lights on and you got him illuminated, and you step out of the car and he steps out of his car. He's been drinking all day, smoking whatever all day. He is totally amped up. His eyes are about that big around. The guy is totally tanked and he hates cops. And you say, sir, get back in your vehicle, get back in your vehicle. And he's looking at you and the body language is screaming at you. He reaches under his front seat and he pulls out a handgun. You don't know what kind of handgun it is. It could be a 9mm, 45, it could be a 44 Magnum, it could be, you know, it could be a Desert Eagle, it could be anything, okay? You don't know. And he throws that weapon up and he's got that barrel looking right down at you. You have about a second to respond. Now, are you going to be like this, where that glass is really going to protect you from that bullet? I don't think so. You're going to be like this, reaching for your weapon, bringing your weapon up, and now you've got a bead on him. You're protected, he's not. There's still, yes, there's still a possibility for his bullet to get through and make contact. But you just reduce that by about 95%. And if it does hit the door, it's not going to hit you. The only place it can hit you is anything that's exposed here, okay? You're protected. Or if you're taught in your training to egress behind your vehicle, and that's being taught a lot nowadays, you still have this amount of protection protecting you from here down. Actually here down, because you'll be squatting and moving back. You got that protection. You have just increased your chances of survival exponentially. Whereas if you just had a regular door with nothing in it, that's what the bullet's looking at. All of this, okay? So the bottom line is, we want to get you home safe. We want to make sure you survive any type of egregious event that you might come into where there's shooting involved. This is going to increase your survival exponentially. It's a low-cost item. It costs just a little bit more than the vest you're wearing, but you got 3-4 times the coverage. And together with your training, the vest you're wearing, and this, like I said, the survivability goes up exponentially. You're going to go home safe. You're going to make it through the event. So we're going to take this out to the range. We're going to hit it with those munitions, starting with a 12-gauge shotgun. We're going to hit it at about 3 yards. The closer, the better, to simulate the worst-case scenario, like someone walking up to the car and trying to assassinate an officer by shooting through the door, or somebody coming out of a car and rushing you behind your door as he's firing. So very close up, point-blank range shooting, starting with the 12-gauge shotgun slug. We'll throw some buckshot in there, some double-aught buck 9-pellet. We'll hit it with the 9mm, and we'll work our way up with some other handguns. And we're going to put multiple rounds into this to show you that this will take a sustained barrage of hits. So let's get out to the range and get started.